In this video, I want to continue our exploration of illusions related to the self-illusion. And we covered the illusion of ownership yesterday. Let's cover another one closely related, and that is the illusion of social power. Because so often we use the illusion of social power to gain access to the illusion of ownership, both in service to the illusion of the self. Now, it's true that there are other species on the planet that use physical power to gain access to resources. Humans, we stand alone in the sense that we use abstractions, ideas, thoughts, language in order to gain access to what we think are, sometimes they're physical resources, but sometimes it's nothing more than just an illusion of power. And the whole thing works because it's all happening collectively. So let's start off with the definition. So social power is when you tell someone else what to do and they do it for no other reason than you told them, or someone else tells you what to do and you do it for no other reason than they told you to do it. It reminds me of long ago and at Kent as an undergrad, and we were exploring different states of consciousness. And remember, I consider thinking an altered state of consciousness, and there's others that we might call altered that are probably more normal than thinking. And we walked into a restaurant. It was 2 a.m, and there's a section that was roped off, and we asked to sit there. And the person working there looked at us and said, "I would, but the rules are the rules, so I can't." And this has sent us into absolute hysterics. I actually don't remember what we did after that, because we were literally laughing so hard at the absurdity that humans would come up with rules and then appeal to those rules as a way to enforce them. And of course, the world is still in a mystery, confused how someone as physically weak as Hitler could somehow gain so much control over people and such a huge percent of the world's population. And you have to remember, at the Nuremberg Trials, when all these high-ranking Nazis who had done such horrific things to other human beings were asked, "Why did you do this?" they almost always would respond, "Because I was told to do it. Someone told me. I was following orders." And so this is what got into the mind of psychologist Stanley Milgram. He was considering, well, could this happen over again? Is it even possible that we could find ourselves in the same situation? And unfortunately, his experiment suggested strongly that we could, because he set up something where if people followed orders, they would shock another person. And they did. Most of the people shocked the other person for no other reason than they were following orders. And in one extreme case, the person grabbed the hand of the subject and was physically placing it on a shock plate. And this is something I had over on my door for years, on my office door, because it just sent a message about the dangers of social power and obedience. And so what are some of the variables related to this? You might remember, I think it was comedian Bill Burr. He had this bit where he was talking about why he doesn't even want to put a suit on, because as soon as he does, he starts telling people what to do. And the ironic thing is, when you have a suit on, people will often listen to what you tell them to do, simply because of the costume that they happen to be wearing. And so I rarely wear the suit costume, but any costume is a costume, and they're all reflecting where we're at in terms of these social powers. So ask the question right now: who do you have power over, and who has power over you? And let's ponder that for a moment and see if we can become conscious of that power. What do you mean by it? If you ponder this, you'll recognize that it only exists as a thought. There's no real power when we talk about social power. It's simply a thought. And in the same way, and I've done other videos on this, thoughts only seem to exist. This power only seems to exist. And I often talk about the Ph.D, the happiest right-brain people on the planet, this small, almost extinct group in the Amazon. And it's very interesting that they have no social hierarchy. No one person has any power over the other. And in fact, they consider it extremely rude if one person tells another what to do. And why is that? It's because they're not caught up in this left brain categorical world where one person, for mythical reasons, has the power to tell someone else what to do. And it's interesting that they call other people, non-Ph.D, they call all of us crooked heads. And I think that's a pretty accurate way of putting it. So here's the illusion to kind of slowly digest for the day. And it's connected to the self-illusion, because if you have social power and you tell someone what else to do, of course there's a you, the idea of a you somewhere in there. And it's the same thing if someone tells you what to do. There's some little you in there that is obedient. So take notice throughout the day of the people who tell you what to do and the people that you tell what to do. And ponder where the power is and why are you doing it. I mean, sometimes it's very useful, and someone asks, could you help me with, and you comply. And this, of course, is something that's really positive. It's altruism, and that could be a really positive thing. And then other times we do something simply for no other reason than we believe this person has power over us. And of course, the real illusion is that the person has no power over us. It's nothing other than the mind that is playing this game where we let it have power because we believe it does at the time. And ponder the game that we're playing. You know, we let the mind, that is to say consciousness, our true identity, lets the mind have power to kind of flirt and play with this strange game that we're playing, this far out game we're playing as human beings. But the same game is also to explore and unmask these illusions.